The kicker is so much fun. It's a little uncomfortable seeing Frank behave in ways that are not admirable, but it's a brilliant episode. This is the 11th episode of season 6 of Everybody Loves Raymond. This is directed by Gary Halvorson, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts. And it starts off with Marie coming over to the house. She wants to get her spoon back. She's making cakes for the bake sale, as is Debra. And Marie then says, just as she's about to leave, she happens to mention that she's sending Frank over. And nobody wants to spend any time with him, which I have to say is a little upsetting. He is very difficult, but nobody wants to be around him. And that's, I feel like if Frank could hear that conversation, I think even Frank would be quite hurt by that. And they do trick Robert into going to the game with him, a football game. And the next thing we know, Robert comes back to the house with nacho cheese all over him. And Frank then comes in with the football. Apparently this was I know nothing about football, but apparently it was a really great kick, and he caught the ball and he basically ran with it because he wasn't meant to take it. The school wants the ball back. And this is the bit where Frank's not really admirable. He refuses to give the ball back. And as I said, I know nothing about football. I don't know the etiquette there. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure with baseball, if you catch the ball, you keep it. But with football, it seems to mean a lot to the school. I don't really know. If you have any information, please feel free to share. And the next thing we know, they're talking about this on the radio. Obviously, this was an important school game, and everybody's heard about Frank and the problems he's caused, and they're calling him a jackass. And then Frank calls into the radio show, and he said he'll give the ball back for $10,000. It's a little bit ridiculous. And he gives his full name. He says, I'm Frank Barone. And the people on the radio put two and two together and realize, like, are you Ray Barone's father? And or they said, are you related to Ray Barone? And he said, sure, that's my son. And Ray's reaction was just absolutely amazing. He got so wound up by it. He smashed Marie's cake. And then, of course, Marie responded to that in a very animated way. And it was just a really, really funny scene. So they need to find a way to resolve this problem. And well, Marie's attempt to seduce Frank didn't go according to plan. She gives him a sandwich. She starts to slowly unbutton her blouse or whatever she's doing, and he has the football in one hand and he's got his big sandwich and he's just not interested. But then she grabs it and she throws it to Debra, who was out of sight, but the door's locked. So she throws it to Robert, who then throws it to Raymond. We're back at Raymond and Debra's house now. And the ball kind of went through the window, which I thought was very, very funny. And Ray has the ball. He goes to his car. He's obviously about to drive it to the school. And Frank gets in the other side and grabs the ball. And it was just a really beautifully executed scene or sequence. I thought it was really, really well done. I had a lot of fun with that. And then it gets a little emotional and rather beautiful. And Ray realizes that, first of all, he's going to try and write a letter in his column, an apology to everybody in his column. And the others say, you can't do this. You can't speak about your family like that in public, even if we agree that Frank is in the wrong and that it could affect the quote-unquote family harmony. So Ray comes up with a new plan. And he goes down to Frank, who's in the basement. And he's brought the football player with him, the person who kicked the ball, and his father, and they're going to give him the money. Or at least the money that they have. They don't have the whole amount, but they have something. And Frank realizes in that moment that it's not the right thing to keep it, and he fetches this teddy bear and pulls the football out of the teddy bear's stomach, giving us a bit of comedy in what is otherwise a really heartfelt moment. And the son gives the ball to his father, because his father was the reason he got into football. And it was so beautiful, and they had this really lovely moment. And it was just, it made me very emotional. And it was a really nice way to end things. It's a beautiful episode, but very funny as well. But yeah, I don't like seeing Frank behaving like this. It's not that I don't believe it. It's not that I don't think it's in his character. I just don't like seeing it. But I also don't like everybody else saying that they don't want to be around Frank, and they're basically trying to pass him around to whoever will take him, and that's not great either. So a lot of mixed emotions with how I felt, but the episode itself is really great, and all things considered, I think it's fair to say that the kicker is a pretty fabulous episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.